Hey, my name is Vashlos. Thanks for tuning in today. This is going to be a different video than what I usually do for World of Warcraft, but I think it's important. This is PTR, Public Test Realm. They posted this on June 28th, and these are the rogue changes. I'm going to go over what they've posted, and then I'm going to go over some of my hopes and dreams as to what I wish I would find in Phase 4 and in my rogue gameplay. So, let's get to reading. Oh, also, I'm going to leave this link to the blue post down below in the description if you want to read over it yourself. If you don't play Rogue, you can go and find the section that's relevant to you. I think they've got Hunter changes, Paladin changes, and Shaman changes. Maybe Mages, too, I think is also in this post. Let me know in the comments if you want me to read over those. But, I digress. Rogue. The top of the section is basically what their testing focus was, and they say that they're basically buffing the target dummy so that it has more health for more accurate representation of damage that would be going out on such a target. And then they've also added a new vendor that lets you buy world buff as a consumable if you want to test that kind of gameplay. So, Rogue. Slaughter from the Shadows now reduces backstab and ambush cost by 30, up from 20 energy, and now also increases damage from backstab and ambush to non-player controlled targets by 60%. They had a little bit of a typo there. Um, Non-player controlled targets, I think this is meant to be for like pets. I don't know. I don't think that that applies to just like, hey, that thing isn't a player. A player isn't controlling that. It deals more damage to that. I'm pretty sure this is like a PvP change. Um, Mutilate is dominant in PvE, and we know some players have a deep fondness for backstab, so the intent here is to bring backstab up with new synergies. This rune may be niche and situational due to the fact that it competes with Deadly Brew, but we'll keep an eye on usage. I don't think it's going to be able to compete with Deadly Brew at all. Yeah, absolutely not. I think Deadly Brew is just way too strong, and they would be better focused to not make it so niche and just give it a more general application like Mutilate has. What makes Mutilate so strong is that it has an additional combo point and reduces its own energy cost um, through other avenues. So it has the best of both worlds and a little bit more than Sinister Strike, than Saber Slash, or Backstab. It's just very difficult to compete with Mutilate right now because of how much it actually gives us as a rogue. And resources is, you know, rogue gameplay. You don't have energy, you're not using your skills. You don't have combo points, you're not getting out, a big Envenom, or you're not putting out a big Rupture. Unfair Advantage now also triggers on parries. Thank you. Always hits your current target. I'm not sure how I feel about that, and grants one combo point when it triggers. My dream for Unfair Advantage is that it doesn't have a cooldown, and it would be the rune of choice if you wanted to help your friends level, or if you wanted to make some gold leveling other people, right? Like, in my imagination, what Unfair Advantage should be is like, yeah, you parried, you reached back and riposted, or you backhanded him or something. I don't know. But I don't like how it's so constrained. I get that they're like kind of scared of it. There's a change in a little bit that should scare you much more of rogues obtaining that. But yeah, for Unfair Advantage, I feel like it has the potential for fulfilling an amazing fantasy of, you know, I'm dodging and I'm such a skilled bladesman that every time I dodge, I'm getting another hit out on my opponent, even though I'm not like looking at them, or it's like, you're just like twisting around and basically a blade dancer. That's the fantasy that Unfair Advantage conjures for me, and I wish that they would go more in that direction and take off the gloves, right? Like just let it breathe. So let's read the developer note. This is to give tanks a way to get combo points to maintain their two maintenance, maintenance finishers without having to completely rely on Honor Among Thieves. I ain't using Honor Among Thieves. I'd much rather have the energy from the oh goodness, I can't remember the specific name of it, but you only get two head runes right now, and I'm not using Honor Among Thieves, I'll tell you that. This accomplishes two things. Allows you to feel like avoidance further increases your damage output, increases the potential for rune combination diversity. You can do Honor Among Thieves plus Carnage, with the Carnage change later on, or Combat Potency focus attacks, unfair advantage to have a way to gain combo points and a way to keep the energy flowing. That's probably what I'm going to be doing, but I'm also probably going to be using Carnage for what we're about to read soon. Shiv has replaced with a new rune, Cutthroat. Bye, Shiv. You no longer need to be behind your target to backstab, ambush, or garrote. Wow. And you have a 15% chance when you backstab to make your next ambush not require being in stealth. That's really interesting. I like that. That almost makes me want to take back what I said about backstab because you don't need to be behind your target anymore. Yeah, that's nice. Um, and then you also get a proc effect, which is, I mean, proc effects are just fun, right? It's like you get to do more. Known issue, these abilities still trigger an error stating you must be behind your target. Sad egg. Developer notes, with the change to the poison knife to have no dead zone, Shiv stood to fall even further behind compared to the other runes in this slot. With Saber Slash and Mutilate having their identities locked in with damage over time effects, we wanted to add a big numbers option to this slot for those who enjoy backstab and ambush. No, I think this is perfectly fine. That's honestly amazing, and I wouldn't have expected that. I mean, honestly, I read the Slaughter from the Shadows change, and then I was like, okay, well, yep, nobody's using this still. Main Gauche. Now grants 100% parry chance, okay, until your next parry attack. 10%, yeah, instead of 10%, you now get 100%. But what's the duration? Is the duration still? Yeah, for the next 10 seconds. So they didn't change it. I want to check the cooldown almost. I wonder what the downtime is, but that's really powerful. In line with the theme of glove runes and dominance, we understand Mutilate has been essentially the default choice for many builds, and we want to open that up more. Creating a synergy with Sinister Strike made sense to us here, since main Gauche is no longer on a cooldown, and we don't feel comfortable increasing the rate at which a rogue will be able to avoid attacks, and accelerating rogues reaching a full avoidance cap, which could prove problematic. We think this version of main Gauche allows the player to control their avoidance, creates more energy play outside of just Adrenaline Rush, and may allow more builds to open up. This additionally keeps the efficiency against bosses with 2.0 attacks, be it essentially allowing the rogue to avoid one extra attack every 10 swings. I need time to think about this one. I like that they're thinking about it from an angle of Mutilate is just so dominant they need to make other things better for the glove slot. I really don't know. This is probably like a fight-specific rune. This is probably for very specific fights where you just absolutely need to give your healers a break. Or maybe you're in PvP and you are guarding the flag, right? You get zerged and you really need to, like, you've got like 5 warriors and 5 paladins on you. You're just parrying everything for 10 seconds. But I like that. They're completely aware that rogues are a little starved for a reason, and it's because a lot of our mechanics just can really fly off the handle and take over everything from whether it's PvE or PvP. And then we need a nerf, and that never feels good. So I definitely appreciate that they're tentatively walking forward with these changes. Carnage, this is what I really am excited to talk to you guys about. And I'm going to have a little bit of a tangent after we read the developer's note, because I had a personal dream for the entirety of Season of Discovery about something else that Rogue could be doing, which would also be potentially really funny. I hope you find it funny too. But anyways, I'm digressing. Carnage now also heals the Rogue for 40% of all damage done by Rupture. That is crazy. There is no limit on how many Ruptures you can have out, and 40% is a rather large number. So I will be taking this rune. I don't care if it's not the best optimal damage. I plan on playing a little bit of rogue tank, or as much of a rogue tank as I possibly can, because I've really been enjoying it even without Fan of Knives, which, as you see, we're about to get Fan of Knives too. But I did not expect Carnage turning us into a drain tank. That is really cool. Rupture does amazing damage anyways. Carnage is an amazing rune anyways, because it just makes everything else you do do more damage. Let's read the developer's note. Adding some sustain to Rogue could be problematic, yes. But we also feel like Rupture has two uses in an Envenom world. Stop another Rogue from re-stealthing, they're right, and bleed down a Plate Wearer, they're right. Outside of that, Rupture doesn't have a ton of great application. They're wrong. If you use Carnage, Rupture has just about universal application, and I mean, even on Bear Druids, I love applying Rupture. Anyone that is capable of fearing me or rooting me, they're going to get some bleeds on them. So, yeah. I don't really agree with that very last line, but I agree there are some like tried and true applications that may make it feel stale. And outside of those applications, it's um, you know, up to the player to determine how useful they actually are and how to spend those combo points. It's not like obvious, right? Like you have to really spend some time understanding the skill. So instead of adding more damage to it, we want to push its identity out in a way that it doesn't compare or compete one-to-one with other finishers. This also gives tank rogues an opportunity to opt into Carnage over unfair advantage and adding Rupture to their rotation. I already do that as a rogue tank, and it does very well. So this is just an immense buff. And I would also really like to go over that tangent that I talked about at the beginning of this small little tidbit. Um, I have been talking about Rogue Healer for the entirety of Season of Discovery. From Phase 1 to Phase 3 where we are right now. Every group that I join while leveling, every PvP battleground, every time I'm in Discord with my guildmates, I am talking about Rogue Healer. And albeit I'm not upset that Carnage is going to heal us for a portion of the damage done, what my dream for Rogue Healer is that I'm like a surgeon, right? Like we're good enough with blades that we can like turn around and slap somebody for just dodging their attack. Um, my mental, like my head canon is we're surgeons. And so what do surgeons do? They heal people. They help them. So what if rogues could like stun and stab their teammates to heal them? It like almost flips all of their abilities on their head when you pick up the spec, or like there's a talent point, right? You put 1 point and it's like none of your abilities do damage anymore, but they all heal. And you're now like some new weird version of a melee healer. Um, you blind your teammates so you can operate on them. I don't know. I'm sure there's something wacky there that Blizzard could find worth exploring. And hey, the idea is out there now, right? Blizzard could totally watch this video and be like, he's right. Rogues do deserve to be healers. Um, yeah. Tangent over. Let's move on. Fan of Knives. Damage reduced to 50% weapon damage, 75% with daggers. Okay, well, I mean, I was under the assumption that I wasn't going to be able to use it unless I was using daggers, so not bad. And then 75% with daggers. Honestly, it's such a powerful ability. Um, I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? Like, I don't think anybody expected it to go through the way that it was. Fan of Knives is an incredibly synergistic ability, and there are more synergies than before for rogues. This version may look weaker than, say, the Wrath of the Lich King version. We're also 2 expansions earlier than Wrath of the Lich King. Focused attacks is 50% more energy restored in the Season of Discovery than in Wrath. Deadly Brew will apply deadly and instant poison from both weapons on Fan of Knives, and Occult Poison will increase the damage of your instant poisons when you stack it up with longer AoE pulls. So we feel very comfortable taking down the base damage of Fan of Knives without negatively impacting AoE threat or damage relative to similar AoE abilities. The 3 Cloak runes are similar ways of doing AoE damage, and with Carnage now working on Crimson Tempest for healing off AoE targets, it now has distinct identity as well. We'll continue to monitor these 3 runes and adjust as needed. I love that they're just always going to treat these tentatively now, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with hotfixes. Hotfixes are completely fine, especially if the player base isn't having fun. So, yeah, I cannot wait to get my hands on Fan of Knives. This is a rune that I've been desperate to be playing with ever since Phase 1. It's been Rogue Tank's biggest problem is AoE threat. Shuriken is fine, but it just really doesn't do the job when everybody else is doing so much more damage and AoE threat, right? Like Shuriken just couldn't keep up. They did have a change recently. It's not in this blue post, but Shuriken did kind of have a glow up on the PTR where it's going to give a combo point on your target per what's the right word? Per additional target hit, it's going to add an additional combo point to your main target. And that's really nice, especially with some of the rupture changes. Yeah, this blue post has me really excited. There's a lot of things that I just wasn't expecting. And I will end this video with a couple of things. Thanks for watching, first and foremost. 2, Blizzard, please, for the love of God, give Ravenholt a reason to exist. It's a rogue reputation. What if rogues got, something to do with their rogue reputation instead of just turning in some boxes and emblems and getting a thumbs up from the master rogue? Or, some like throwing daggers that have no purpose because they have no stats on them or attack power. I don't know. I'm just saying, Ravenholt could use some love. But yeah, thank you for watching. I stream every single day. I hope to see you guys there sometime. I'll leave it down below in the description. And that does it. I'll see you next time, and let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you hated it. And that's it. Peace out.
I'm not worthy, baby. I got a pint in my pocket, some empties on the floor. I've been staring for an hour at the deadbolt in my door. I've been drifting in the city, struck hungry in the street, staring down dark corners. I'm a liar and a cheat. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy, baby. I'm not worthy.